Hi, I'm Emily Taylor from Collage Quilter. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to walk through the steps of making the Lotus Blossoms block. This is in the Longwood quilt, and this is for the block of the month. You can also purchase this if you're not participating in the block of the month. Of course, you can purchase it on our website, collagequilter.com. And let me show you what comes in the kit. So first of all, let's see here. We've got a packet of fabric, and in the fabric is the background, all the background pieces, as well as fabric for all the collage. You'll have a pattern, and for those of you who are purchasing it independent of the block of the month, you'll get a packet of steam-a-seam. So I want to talk about the first steps in getting this ready so that we can get started on the collage. Let me set that aside for a minute. With the fabric, one thing I wanted to point out. So we have a very generous assortment of fabric for these flowers. And I wanted to show you how I like to prepare my fabric. So as I've peeled off one side of the paper from the steam-a-seam, exposing the sticky stuff, and then I just, lay my blocks down, and I try really hard to not overlap, but to make sure that I maximize all of that I use all of the steam-a-seam because it's expensive. So we want to make sure that we use all of it. Then the next thing is I like to cut my pieces out before I press them. And I don't like having this piece of paper hanging around, this large piece of paper, so I prefer to cut all of these blocks apart, and then I will take them to my iron and press the back so that the steam-a-seam is stuck to the paper, or stuck to the fabric. The other thing that I want to point out about this fabric is there are a few pieces that I have discovered I really like using the reverse side. So I'm going to, in particular, it's these pieces. I like the way they look on the reverse side as much as I do on the front. So especially that one, isn't that just a pretty subtle pink, kind of pinky purple? So I'm going to cut these in half so that I can use them both on the front side and the reverse side. Let's see here. Let me find my ruler. Here it is. So doing this obviously then increases the number of fabrics. So I think we put 15 fabrics in, and you can increase the number by reversing the fabric. So there we go, little tip for the week, and for this project and any of the collages. That's a really good way to increase the variety of fabric that you have to work with in your collage. So after I've got my fabric ready, then I'm ready to begin tracing the template. So this time I have my handy dandy little light box. This one is a small light box. This is called a Daylight. I really like this brand. It's got rulers on the sides, and it's just a really nice brand. So I will take my parchment paper and just cut a piece. Now remember, this is just baking paper. It's non-stick, and because it's non-stick, you need to use a pencil with this instead of a pen. Pen doesn't work so well. So then I'll take my gray tone guides and I will trace them. So each individual one, I'm gonna just work on one for you today. Let's see. I think I'll do this top one right here. Okay. And actually I would trace both of them, or maybe all three of them, on to the parchment paper. But pencil, tracing this. I want to make sure that I get all of the gray tone areas traced out because the values are what guide my fabric placement and fabric selection. Now, one thing that was the tip of the week last week is the gray tone guides are they're guides. It's okay to go outside the lines. So don't feel like you need to be super, super precise. I'm never precise. And if you look at any of my collages, you'll see, oh, Emily didn't do that quite the way the pattern reads. That's because I'm a rebel. Okay, well, I'm not gonna bore you with this right now, but I'm gonna continue tracing this. When I've got this all traced up, then we're gonna go into my studio and I'm going to start the collage. So I'll see you in just a minute. All right, so I have the gray tone right here as a guide so that I can refer to that. I've got my template traced, right? I find that it's easiest to start sometimes on the darkest. That kind of establishes where my, everything from there is going to be lighter. So I'm going to start right here, and then I'll jump up to the very lightest section. And we've got about 1, 2, 3. we've really got a spectrum, right? So you can see in the fabric that you also have a really good spectrum from light to dark, which we also increased by cutting cutting some in half and doing the reverse side. So anyway, I should lay these out to get all organized, but I'm just going to dive in. And here we go. Also, right near me, I have my my wand iron. I find this to be essential. It's no longer optional, it's essential. Especially for these first few pieces that need to be adhered down to the to the parchment paper. Now, obviously, this is a little smaller collage, so your pieces can be a little bit smaller than in collages that are larger, right? I'm going to turn this fabric so I can use the direction of it, like this. And again, just a reminder that you do not need to stay in the lines. Okay, so now I'm going to jump up and get started on these light pieces back here. Excuse me, I've had a little frog in my throat. Now I'm going to sort through my fabric a little bit more, make sure I get a good spectrum and figure out what are the lightest pieces that I want to use in here. Now you can really begin to see that I have a very generous assortment of fabric for this little project. I'm going to reserve the orange and yellow for the center. Okay, so this kind of just helps me see all the fabric that I have and where it falls in the value spectrum. All right, here is my finished lotus blossom. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I really like the juxtaposition of the very, very cool purple pink next to the warmer pinks in here. I think we've got some really good value transitions between the dark and the really light up here, and it makes it look like the sunlight is kind of capturing, highlighting back here in the blossom. So anyway, this was a fun, simple project. I hope you have fun with it. Now, the thing is, it's going to be beautiful when you put it on the dark background. So if you'll remember, I strongly advise that you wash your fabric so that it will pre-shrink before you cut and piece together. We want to make sure that all the blocks in this Longwood quilt are going to work together, and that would be my strongest recommendation. So these are 4.5-inch strips. You are supposed to cut them to, you can read in the instructions. There are step-by-step photo instructions about piecing this block. So if you have any questions about this, you can contact me, Emily at collagequilter.com, and to purchase this pattern and all the supplies that you've seen me use, go to collagequilter.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you'll be notified when I have new tutorials come up. Okay, thanks for joining me. Take care.